All right, man. I wasn't going to start the show this way, but yeah, we do have breaking news. But I just saw this comment right before I went live. Yabusele chose a real team instead of a trash-ass team like the 76ers, tanking for 10 years to not make the NBA Finals. Greg S., the New York Knicks have not won a championship since 1972, bro. Your parents were children in 1972. That's how long it's been since the New York Knicks won an NBA championship. The New York Knicks have been irrelevant for so many years. They went through an era where the owner was banning fans from the arena for chanting, "Sell the team." Let's not let the last couple of years of Knicks playoff runs, which ultimately fell short every single time, blind us or make us forget that the Knicks have been the laughing stock of the NBA for 40 plus years. Just wanted to start there. Yeah, we do have breaking news. Hey, thank you all for coming through, man. Thank you for rocking with me. Yabusele is out of here. He is gone. Before we get into everything, do me a favor, hit the like button one time. That helps me out greatly. 228 people in here. Hit the like button 228 times. That helps push this stream through the algorithm and bring more and more and more hardcore 76ers fans or absolutely insane New York Knicks fans to the channel. And with Yabusele signing with the Knicks, I'm sure Geurschon Yabusele will be a large search topic today for New York Knicks fans. So if there are a ton of trolling Knicks fans in here, that's just the nature of the game. All right, let's get to it, man. Geurschon Yabusele has agreed to a 2-year, $12 million deal with the New York Knicks plus a player option. Does that mean it's 3 years? 2 years, $12 million with the New York Knicks plus a player option. Does that mean the second year is a player option? Sources tell ESPN the Knicks negotiated the new deal with agents Richie Felder and Olivier Mazet for the big man on Tuesday. Now, for somebody in the chat that also said DJ Eastwood crash out loading, anyone who's watched me or listened to me for the past season would not expect me to crash out over this. I have been trying to tell you guys that Geurschon Yabusele is not coming back to the 76ers. Since last season, I was saying this, bro. It was obvious. He bought himself out of his EuroLeague contract with his own money. It cost him almost $900,000 out of his own pocket to get out of his EuroLeague contract, to come here and sign a minimum with the Philadelphia 76ers for 1 year. His entire goal was to get paid. The 76ers clearly weren't interested in even paying him $6 million a year, which is pretty wild. But he, you know, there's people saying traitor or sellout or whatever else. Come on, man. Like you got to use your brain a little bit here. Why would a player like Geurschon Yabusele have an obligation to sign back with the 76ers? People are like, maybe he'll give us maybe he'll sign back cheap because we're the ones that took a chance on him. Maybe he'll sign back cheap out of loyalty. What are you talking about, man? If your job right now, your 9 to 5 or whatever you do for work, if another job offers you more money, is your boss at your job right now going to come to you and say, hey, man, we know that job is going to pay you, offered to pay you 3 times what we want to pay you. But we hired you first. And we would appreciate it if you worked here for less money out of loyalty for the company. Come on, man. Yeah, of course, he's interested in his own brand, his own family, his own finances. He was looking to get a bag. This is why I said the 76ers should have traded him at the deadline, this past trade deadline. And if Daryl Morey wasn't delusional and didn't think that the 76ers still had a chance, he would have done that. because it was obvious that Yabusele was not going to come back to the Sixers. They had a $14 million mid-level exception, and I think realistically, Geurschon Yabusele is not worth $14 million. Look, he only got $6 from the New York Knicks. 2 years, $12 million. I'm just saying, two things. He's not worth $14 million. And why would he give the 76ers a discount out of loyalty? It just doesn't make sense. These are billion-dollar corporations. You're interested in your own life and your own finances. And Yabusele bought himself out of his EuroLeague contract to come over to the USA and get back in the NBA and secure himself a nice payday, and that's exactly what he did. I will never understand anybody that thinks he had some kind of obligation to sign back with the 76ers. Now let's talk about why the 76ers did not offer him that amount of money. This was a straight business decision by the 76ers. This was a business decision by Daryl Morey. Number one, right now, the price on Quentin Grimes is lowering by the minute as other NBA free agents sign contracts with other teams. And the 70, it's becoming more and more of a chance. It's becoming more and more likely that the 76ers re-sign Quentin Grimes. And I think with the whatever they have left, mid-level exception or whatever amount of money that they can come up with, they are clearly much more interested in trying to use that money to bring back Quentin Grimes versus Yabusele. Now, I loved Geurschon Yabusele for the Sixers last season. I love what he did. I love the story of a guy who was out of the NBA for 5 years and got a second chance by dunking on LeBron James in the Olympics and then coming back over here on a 1-year deal after buying himself out of his contract in the EuroLeague, costing himself $900,000 out of his own pocket, betting on himself, coming over here and doing what he did last season. Straight heart, hustle, effort, dog mentality, all of that. And then you add the fact that he was a 40+% three-point shooter after not being known as a shooter at all in his first stint in the NBA in 2019 with the Boston Celtics. Geurschon Yabusele has developed into a stretch four. I think he's an NBA player. I think he deserves to be in the NBA until he wants to retire, and I'm happy that he got paid. But let's keep it a buck, okay? The 76ers have a couple of major issues. Number one, they suck at rebounding, okay? Guess who else, unfortunately, sucks at rebounding? Geurschon Yabusele. All right. The 76ers also suck at defense. Geurschon Yabusele, unfortunately, is a terrible defender. Not just on the perimeter, in the interior also. Geurschon Yabusele is 6'8", 275, and can't jump. All right. He's a nice stretch four. He's a great catch and shoot guy. He's a great hustle guy. He has a little bit of a ability to put the ball on the floor, get to the rim, finish through contact and things like that. But we as 76ers fans overrated the hell out of Geurschon Yabusele because we love heart. We love effort, and we love an underdog story. And I love it too. But you have to look at the team and say, what are the issues? We need size. We need defense. We need rebounding. Geurschon Yabusele gives you basically none of those things, which is exactly why the 76ers weren't even interested in paying him 2 years, $12 million. That should tell you that the 76ers believe less in Yabusele than even the things that I just said about him. They wouldn't even match 2 years, $12 million. Again, I think it has to do with the fact that they want to re-sign Grimes. But I just don't think he's worth that money, and I don't think he fixes the actual issues with this team. Size, youth, defense, rebounding. So there is basically why the 76ers let him sign with the New York Knicks. Now the New York Knicks are rumored to be signing Jordan Clarkson. I think that's a good signing for them. I think they lacked a secondary shot creator, outside of Jalen Brunson. And I think Yabusele will be great for the New York Knicks also as a toughness kind of guy off the bench, a hustle guy. And I think it's a good signing for the Knicks. But it just doesn't make sense for the 76ers given what their issues actually are. And, that's why I predicted he wasn't going to come back to the Sixers all the way since last season. I said they should have traded him at the deadline. They didn't do that because Daryl Morey kept saying that we're still contenders and we still have a chance, while 76ers fans were laughing at him during press conferences because he's a delusional maniac. So it doesn't shock me that Yabusele is gone. But then you look at the fact also that yesterday the 76ers signed Trendon Watford. And this, for anybody that's shocked by this Yabusele news, this signing should have made it even more clear that the 76ers are not bringing back Yabusele. They signed Trendon Watford, who is a 6'8", 250, 260-pound forward, on a 2-year, $5.3 million deal. This is like barely over $2.5 million a year. Trendon Watford is younger. He is quicker. He is more of a playmaker. He has more of an on-ball creation with his dribble skills, getting to the rim, right hand, left hand, finishing at the rim. And he's a better rebounder. And maybe most importantly, he's a plus defender. So the 76ers yesterday legitimately signed Yabusele's replacement with a guy who helps them fix their issues more than Yabusele does. He's not as good of a three-point shooter as Yabusele, but he's a better defender and he's a better rebounder, and he's younger. And when you look at the fact that they got him for basically a third of what the New York Knicks paid Yabusele, it just makes sense. And I remember Trendon Watford last season, a couple of games against the 76ers, where the Sixers were in a shitstorm of, Joel Embiid ramping up and Paul George hyperextended knees, and everybody was hurt. And we were getting ran off the floor by some of these teams who were also playing without their best players. One of those games was against the Brooklyn Nets. And Trendon Watford dropped 18 and 6 on us. And I was like, who the hell? I was roasting the 76ers so hard because of guys like Trendon Watford. I was like, we are getting cooked by dudes I've never heard of. But then I saw like a couple more Brooklyn Nets games of Trendon Watford, and it became a name that I started to remember. Like the first Sixers Nets game last year, it was a bunch of players. I was like, who the hell are these guys running us off the floor, right? But then I started to remember the name Trendon Watford because he was a consistent guy in the 3 or 4 games that we played against the Brooklyn Nets. And I kept seeing him. I kept seeing his ability to put the ball on the floor, his ability to get to the rim, his skill level with the right hand, the left hand. If you guys are not up to speed on Trendon Watford, please just go watch a little bit of a highlight reel so you can see his potential. Again, I think he shot 35% from 3 last season, which isn't great. The last 15 games of the season, he did shoot 50% from 3, but he doesn't put up that many threes per game. He's really a guy that's going to defend, a guy that's going to crash the boards on the offensive and the defensive glass, a guy that's going to get in the paint, get physical, and make all of those, nitty-gritty hustle type of plays, the tip backs, the tip back offensive rebounds in a crowd of players. diving on the floor for loose balls, and being a plus defender and fighting for rebounds. I think Trendon Watford is the exact type of player the 76ers need coming off of the bench in the power forward position. Geurschon Yabusele just could not defend anybody in the NBA last year, and it might not be fair to say that because of the situation that he was thrown in with Joel Embiid being injured. The fact that Nick Nurse was playing Yabusele at center for the first 20 games of the season, which just no coach with a functioning brain should have ever thought that was a good idea. I remember a game where Nick Nurse started Yabusele at center against Domantas Sabonis, and we were like, "Well, this is gonna be a fucking bloodbath," you know. And Sabonis finished the game with 20 points and 25 rebounds, dude. Instead of putting a Dembona in there, you know? So I don't think what happened, I don't think the criticism of Yabusele is entirely fair, because part of it has to do with the fact that he was getting exposed because Nick Nurse has no idea what he's doing. But I do think Trendon Watford makes a lot more sense for the 76ers given the price tag and his defensive ability and rebounding ability versus Yabusele, who is a little bit weaker in those areas. Yeah. I think that's my take on the whole thing, man. What's your guys' take, man? Oh, we got a super chat here. Let me make sure I don't miss that. Thank you for the support, as always. Let me put this on the screen, man. There's a lot of people in the chat. There's a lot of stuff going down. Mufasa Sports Club, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Can I get it on the screen? Yeah, there we go. The fact that this front office didn't get Yabu back at this price says a lot about them. New York's cap space was worse than ours, and they get him and Clarkson. They better have more than Grimes coming back. We need another power forward. See, I disagree with you a little bit on this take. I think the fact that this front office didn't get Yabusele back at this price says a lot about what they think about Yabusele. And I like the decision because I agree with what they did here, because they're looking at the issues of the team, defense and rebounding. We need guys who can defend and rebound. And the 76ers front office looked at that and said, Yabusele is not the guy that's going to help us defend and rebound. He's just not. And so you get Trendon Watford, who's a better defender and a better rebounder and younger, at a much lower price, and also helps them stay in contention to bring back Quentin Grimes. That's my take on it. I know we loved Yabusele. I know we loved his heart and his hustle and the underdog story. But we as 76ers fans do tend to overrate players because we get such an emotional connection to them. This was a business decision, and when you really look at the 76ers and what they need, it just makes sense. It does. You know, I don't know if does Jordan Clarkson at this point of his career and Yabusele really help the Knicks? You know what I'm saying? Does Jordan Clarkson and Yabusele really take the Knicks any farther than they got last year? Maybe, but they're not exactly game-breaking guys. Jordan Clarkson just got bought out. There was no trade value. There was no trade market for Jordan Clarkson. I think we're thinking of the Jordan Clarkson from 5 years ago, where, you know, every year we were saying we need to trade for Jordan Clarkson because he's that sixth man of the year type of player. He's that combo guard off the bench. He's that microwave offense guy. But I don't feel like he's been that the past couple of years. He's 30 years old, I think, maybe older than that. And there was no trade market for Jordan Clarkson. The Jazz bought him out. So we can't act like the Knicks getting Yabusele and Jordan Clarkson is some kind of crazy thing that puts them over the top. Now, I'm interested to see what the Sixers do with the Quentin Grimes situation, given the fact that they elected to not use that money to sign Geurschon Yabusele, and they weren't even interested in matching $6 million a year. Where the members at? Za, what's going on, bro? Where the members in the chat, man? Za, who else was in here, man? I saw some members earlier, man. You guys are flying in the chat, bro. You guys are flying in the chat, man. RJ7 Deuce. Crazy thing is it's only $300,000 more than we could give him, and the taxes are higher. It's the same thing. Okay. But the Sixers didn't offer it. That's what I'm saying. It's not like the Sixers offered it and Yabusele chose to go to the Knicks because it was $600,000 more. Sixers didn't offer it, man. Couldn't the Sixers sign him for that? They didn't want to. You know? Do you think Lillard was screwed over? Absolutely not. Damian Lillard's cooked, man. Damian Lillard, for those who don't know, was bought out by the Brooklyn Nets. Damian Lillard tore his Achilles last year. He wasn't even really good before he tore his Achilles. He's 33 years old. He's slow. He can't defend anybody in the NBA. The Bucks have been just imploding since they traded Drew Holiday for Damian Lillard. And no, I don't think Damian Lillard was screwed over. It's a business. And when you're 33, you already, are slowing down and are losing a step. And then you tear your Achilles. Teams aren't really going to be super excited to try to bring you back, man. Would you do a sign and trade with Grimes if we got Whitmore from the Rockets? Yeah. I think I would. But no, probably not. Probably not. Somebody said Shams bomb. We'll see if they're trolling me in the chat or not. We'll see if there's an actual Shams bomb, or if somebody's just trolling me in the chat. What do we got? Yeah, there's no Shams bomb, dude. The last Shams tweet was, wait a minute, 15 hours ago. That doesn't make sense. Shams Charania's last tweet was 15 hours ago. Am I tripping? Is my internet wrong or something? Didn't I just get the Yabusele information from Shams' Twitter page? Oh, 1 minute ago. Sacramento Kings are trading Jonas Valanciunas to the Nuggets for Dario Saric. That's the Shams bomb we're talking about. And the Damian Lillard got bought out. Yeah, I want to talk about Quentin Grimes for a second because yesterday, 2 days ago, it was rumored that Quentin Grimes, I got it all up here. Let me 2 days ago, it was rumored that Quentin Grimes was looking for around $25 million in free agency. And this is what I was saying, man. I was saying that Quentin Grimes himself and his camp probably think that he earned this level of payday in the NBA because of what he showed at the end of last season at his age. So I expected him to want this. I said that I could see Grimes and the Sixers working out a sign and trade because I don't think Quentin Grimes would be interested in a bench role after what he did at the end of last season. Even if it was just he put up those stats on a bad team. I'm saying what Grimes probably thinks about his own potential and what he deserves. I'm not saying it's correct. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I was predicting Grimes might work out something with the Sixers because he probably doesn't want to play a bench role at this point of his career based on what he did last season, in his own opinion. Right? And then the rumor comes out that he's looking for $25 million a season, and everybody's like, this is crazy. Why would he? And I'm like, I told you that's what he was going to at least think that he was worth based on what he believes he showed last season. You know what I'm saying? But then we go through all of the signings yesterday, and you start to look at, who's really getting $25 million. I think Quentin Grimes' camp and a lot of NBA fans don't realize, and I didn't realize actually, when I was saying a couple of months ago that I thought Grimes was going to get a big payday, and I thought Yabusele was going to go for way more than $6 million, $12 million for 2 years. I don't think I realized how much the CBA is affecting these free agent signings because you don't want to be into the second apron for multiple years in a row. It starts to cost you first-round draft picks, and that's crazy. So the CBA is really affecting the available free agency money, you know, versus like a couple years ago, bro. I remember Matthew Dellavedova signing $100 million contract, bro. I remember that one year where the NBA salary scale was so high. There was so much free agent money. Dudes were hitting the lottery, bro. Matthew Dellavedova signed a $100 million contract. Right now, we're seeing the opposite of that because of this CBA and the penalties for the first and second apron. We're seeing the complete opposite of that. We're seeing guys with potential that can really, really help a team, and they're not getting big-time paydays, man. You know, NBA players, welcome back to reality, you know? Welcome back to the world with the rest of us, man. If you didn't get that $100 million in 2018, whatever year that was, you missed out. Because now the money for free agents is looking a little bit more realistic because of that CBA. Karis LeVert, for example, gets $29 million for 2 years, so a little over $13 million a year for Karis LeVert, right? Gary Trent Jr. signs a 2-year, $7.5. So Gary Trent Jr., who was a sniper for the Bucks last season. Some of those playoff games they didn't even deserve to be in. Gary Trent Jr. was going nuts, and then he did drop the ball out of bounds in an elimination game on the one of the final possessions. Like Malik Beasley did with the Detroit Pistons, and, you know, maybe Gary Trent Jr. was betting on his unders like Malik Beasley was. I don't know. But Gary Trent Jr. barely passes $3 million a year on the contract. Taurean Prince, 2 years, $7. You know, not that Taurean Prince is anything to write home about. I think this Taurean Prince is nice, but I think that makes sense for him. This one is one that, you know, Luke Kennard led the NBA in three-point percentage last season. Signs a 1-year, $11 million deal with the Atlanta Hawks. I'm saying all of this to look at Quentin Grimes, you know, his camp saying he wants $25 million a year. Buddy, best three-point shooter in the league last year, just got 11. You know? Karis LeVert, really good combo off the bench type of guard, got like 13. Who else? Tyus Jones gets a 1-year, $7. 1 year, $7. For a guy that last offseason we were talking about was the only like free agent point guard available, that, and Sixers fans were, you know, clamoring for Tyus Jones last season. This guy gets signed for 1 year, $7 million by the Orlando Magic. Ty Jerome, who was a huge part of the Cleveland Cavaliers' success last year. By the way, drafted by the 76ers in 2019. We're not going to talk about that. But Ty Jerome was a massive part of the Cleveland Cavaliers' run last year. He was also a massive part of the Cleveland Cavaliers' fall in the playoffs because he stunk it up off the bench in a couple very important games. But Ty Jerome overall was great last year, and he got 3 years, $28. That's like $9 million a year for Ty Jerome, you know? And so when you look at Quentin Grimes and you say, you know, a guy that 25 years old, combo guard, he showed incredible flashes of scoring ability last season. But he's been traded 4 times. It was at the end of a season after the team was, everybody was injured. You know, he wasn't playing against trash teams. He was doing good things, putting up huge numbers on high efficiency. I think he's valuable. I understand why him and his camp believe that he's worth $25 million a year. But when you look at what everybody's getting paid right now, Quentin Grimes, I got news for you, buddy. You're not getting anywhere close to $25 million. And the 76ers qualifying offer, just to qualify for the bird rights to have the ability to match anything that Grimes is offered by another team, was only $8.7 million. And now I'm seeing guys like Jordan Clarkson get bought out, and Ty Jerome signed for $9 million, and Karis LeVert signed for 11 or 12. I don't think Grimes is going for, I think that $8.7 million might be you could see one of two things. You could see the 76ers offer Quentin Grimes a contract in the ballpark of probably that mid-level exception, $14 million. But I also think you could see Grimes maybe sign a one-year deal and test free agency next season, where maybe he believes that more money will be available from other teams. You know, when we were looking at it, the only real teams that had the cap space to give him $20 million would have been the Brooklyn Nets, the Houston Rockets, and there was another team in there. But I don't think he's going to get $20 million. I think he's going to get like 12, man. I could see, now that I see what everybody's getting paid, I'm thinking Quentin Grimes like 2 years, $12 million. And the Sixers might be able to keep him coming off the bench next season at around, not 2 years, $12 million. I'm thinking 2 years, 24. 8, 15, 16, 18, 17. I don't know, man. I'm not seeing many players with the ability of Quentin Grimes that are getting 18, that are getting close to 20 million. The 14.7 MLE, that's a great price for him. I agree with that. I think you could maybe see a one-year Quentin Grimes deal if he wants to wait a year and test free agency next season. But I also find it hard to believe that he's interested in coming off the bench at this point in his career, because he might want a team that he can show out a little bit more for, which could in turn, land him a bigger bag next offseason. But if the 76ers can get Grimes to come back on like a 2-year 24, or even if they elect a 1-year 14, and then he tests next year, having Quentin Grimes come off the bench for the 76ers this upcoming season would be massive. And now that they let Yabusele walk, I definitely hope that they find a way to pull that off. And then I better not see Kyle Lowry or Eric Gordon in a 76ers uniform on the basketball court in 2025 if they have Maxey, McCain, Grimes, and VJ Edgecombe. There would be no reason to see any of these 5'9", 40-year-olds out on the floor. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, yeah, man. The Denver Nuggets. I wanted to say this, man. The Denver Nuggets traded Michael Porter Jr. for an unprotected 2023 or 2032 first-round pick, which is pretty wild. The Denver Nuggets are trading Michael... Oh, they traded a first. Okay, that makes more sense. For Cam Johnson. I was like, the Nets gave up a first for Michael Porter? No. Michael Porter Jr.'s contract was so bad, and he was so bad in the playoffs when it mattered the most, that they had to attach an unprotected 2023 first-round pick. Now, they got off his contract. They got Cam Johnson in return. What I want to say is, you're telling me the Denver Nuggets found a way to get rid of Michael Porter Jr.'s contract after just like one season of him really stinking up the joint in the playoffs. Maybe 2 seasons. But the 76ers had the same exact player on their roster. His name was Tobias Harris. And he was on a max contract just like Michael Porter Jr. And he would shrink when it mattered the most, just like Michael Porter Jr. And he would put up goose eggs in elimination games in the playoffs and completely fold and disappear and not even look like he was attempting to step up in the absence of Joel Embiid or whoever else wasn't out there. And the 76ers fans were screaming every year, trade Tobias Harris, just like Denver Nuggets fans were screaming every year, trade Michael Porter Jr., trade Michael Porter Jr. The Denver Nuggets actually pull it off. The 76ers elect to just sit around for 5 years and pay Tobias Harris all of that money and waste 5 entire years of Joel Embiid's career. Where the Denver Nuggets know Nikola Jokic is not going to play basketball forever. We need to restructure right now. We don't have time to waste for guys like this to sit and take up most of the salary cap. Why are the Denver Nuggets a competent organization and I get the team that will sit around and pay bums like Tobias Harris a whole 5-year, $280 million contract, man? What did I deserve? What did I do to deserve this? I just wanted to say that. MPJ is actually a great player. What are you saying? Come on, man. Watch a game or two, man. Watch the playoffs. At least watch a playoff game or two, man. My goodness, man. This guy was terrible in the playoffs, man. I'm talking like 3 points in 40 minutes type of performances, man. That's a great player to you? Okay, buddy. Did I want to say anything else? Oh, yeah, the Sixers are trying to trade Andre Drummond. That is a report also. Is it going to happen? Dude, they screwed themselves with these player options, man. The Sixers really screwed themselves with these player options because we knew Andre Drummond was going to buy into his contract. And it's a $5 million player option. He was basically unplayable last year. I mean, he was so terrible. He was so bad at the backup center minutes that Nick Nurse elected to play Geurschon Yabusele. Nick Nurse was playing Paul George at center some of those games because Andre Drummond was that bad at center last year. Andre Drummond cannot defend anybody at the rim at this point of his career. I don't know what happened. I don't think he was ever a great interior defender. But my God, it was nothing but a layup line last year as soon as Andre Drummond got on the floor, and then Yabusele wasn't any better at defending the rim. It was a layup line the whole season, mostly because the Sixers were playing Andre Drummond and Geurschon Yabusele at center. And now, because he has no trade value, and you see other free agents signing for $2.5 million or $3 million, what team is going to want to trade for Andre Drummond at $5 million after what he looked like last season? And we should have saw this coming. We signed him off of nostalgia. The guy was coming off the bench in Chicago. He wasn't even getting any minutes. And Vucevic can't defend the rim. They still weren't giving Andre Drummond minutes, and we were like, free Andre. Get him out of Chicago, bring him back to Philly. And then we find out the hard way why he wasn't getting any minutes in Chicago. And now we're going to be stuck paying him $5 million. Which means Nick Nurse is going to play him. Or the Sixers are going to buy him out. I don't know. I don't know how that works, if that's possible. Y'all wanted Drummond, though. Yeah, that's what I just said, man. Vlad, what's up, bro? Who do you think is the player we're trying to trade for, and how many picks would we have to give up? Who do you think the player is we're trying to trade for, and how many I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. You guys got any hot takes in the chat? Any questions, comments, concerns? Any other opinions? What about Oubre and Drummond with the 2029 Clippers first to swap to Dallas for PJ Washington? I don't know if that gets it done if PJ is available. Yeah, I think the Dallas Mavericks are interested in trying to win right now. You know, I mean, I know they just drafted Cooper Flagg, but Cooper Flagg looks like an NBA-ready player, you know, and the Mavericks are, after the Luka trade, you know, they're trying to win in the next couple of years. They're going to, you know, Kyrie's going to miss most of next season. But when they get Kyrie back, and maybe if Anthony Davis stays healthy and Cooper Flagg develops for a year, they're going to continue to try to build what they feel like is a championship level team. in no world would the Dallas Mavericks be interested in Kelly Oubre and Andre Drummond and give up probably their best 3-and-D player on the team. So unfortunately, I don't see that happening at all. Watford is 24. Morey said the team is going to be mostly 24 and younger this year. Yeah, I like it, man. I like the fact that Daryl Morey found out the hard way, possibly in large part to Nick Nurse having an obsession with playing old guys who can't run and jump. At least Daryl Morey watched what we watched and said, holy shit, we look like a nursing home out there. Nick Nursing Home. And so much like taking an iPad away from a bad child, Daryl Morey has to take old players away from Nick Nurse. They should have just fired Nick Nurse. They elect to keep the coach who loves playing old veterans while trying to get younger as a team. We'll see, man. We'll see. We'll see, man. Who said Grimes is too short to play shooting guard? AI played shooting guard at 6 feet. Yeah, well, I don't think Grimes is too short to play shooting guard. I don't know if somebody said that or not, but you can't really use Allen Iverson as a comparison, though, or an example, because Allen Iverson is a once-in-a-lifetime talent that you will never see again. Ever. There is no 5'11" or 6-foot player who was a unanimous number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft. Let's not ever understate how freakishly good Allen Iverson was at a small size. Lou Dort 6'4", Jay Williams 6'5". They both start. So are you guys discussing like Quentin Grimes being a starter next season if the 76ers manage to re-sign him? Tari Eason and Cam Whitmore about to get no playing time. Maybe we can scoop up one of them for Oubre and a first. Maybe. Who knows? I wouldn't look. I wouldn't. Don't cross your fingers on Daryl Morey making some kind of trade that nets you a good player in return. If you're trading Kelly Oubre and Andre Drummond just to get rid of their player option numbers, it's not going to bring you back anything of value. You'd be trading them just to get off of those numbers. Would you want Giannis? And what do you think it would take to get him? No, the Sixers don't have enough, man. I think the Bucks should trade him, but there's going to be too many teams that offer a massive haul for Giannis Antetokounmpo, and the 76ers are probably at the bottom of that list when it comes to things that they could possibly offer in a Giannis trade. Grimes is absolutely starting over McCain or VJ. Well, if that happens, I wouldn't be mad at it. So we're talking about Maxey and Grimes as the 1 and 2 to start the season. Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that at all, man. I would love Jared McCain coming off the bench. I would love VJ Edgecombe coming off the bench, and I think Jared McCain and VJ Edgecombe would really be kind of the same tandem that Tyrese Maxey and Quentin Grimes would be. You know what I mean? Different players, but same idea. And then you could interchange all 4 of them, and I think it could work. If Nick Nurse is creative with his lineups, which I didn't see last year, and if he stays away from the veterans, if he stays away from the 40-year-old veterans, I mean, the minute I see Kyle Lowry on the floor in a 76ers jersey, when you have those 4 guards, there should be no Kyle Lowry. There should be no Eric Gordon. There should be none of those guys on the floor. We'll see, man. We'll see. Randy 215, shout out to the 215. How would signing Grimes affect the Sixers' future financially? Do you think it would be negative or positive? Well, they have his bird rights, so whatever another team offers, they can match it without getting the penalties that come along with the first and second apron. So they have his bird rights. So it really, at this point, what I think he's worth and what I think he's going to get in free agency, which I really can't see it being more than 13, 14 million. I don't think it'll affect them at all in the future. I think it might be a 1-year deal in the MLE if Grimes wants to test free agency next season. I could see like 2 years, 30. And I don't think that should really affect their salary cap situation for the next couple of years because they have his bird rights and it's not a massive amount of money. I think they really want Eric Gordon back because of the Bahamas connection with VJ. I don't care. I don't care, bro. I love you. I'm not yelling at you. I'm yelling at the idea. I don't care who played for what fucking Olympic team or who knew who when they were kids or who hangs out with whose dad and uncle or who, like, I don't care about this shit, man. I'm so tired of the Sixers doing shit like this. Oh, they're both from the Bahamas and they both go to Taco Tuesday at the same bar in the fucking, I don't care, bro. Give me players that can play basketball, dude. I'm sick of it, man. I'm sick of it, dude. Anyway, I wasn't yelling at you. It's all love, and thank you so much for the comments and contributing to the show. Yeah, that's all I got, man. Yabusele's out of here. We'll see what happens with Quentin Grimes, man. If it happens today, I'll be back up here yelling and screaming. If it happens a couple of days from now, I don't know, man. We'll see. But thank you guys so much for coming through. Thank you for hanging out. Hit the like button for me one time. 855 people still in here. Hit the like button, and I'll see you all